We are live at the Space in Las Vegas. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I'm joined this year by the greatest export in the history of all Canada, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarina. She's in charge. Sarina Taylor, she's going to run the show this year. I'm just going to lead the discussion every now and then. But we've got a brand new co-host. We have some incredible surprises for you. We're live on YouTube for the very first time. That's a stunt we never thought we would pull off, but we have. And all the episodes this year will be live. So we encourage you, if you're watching now, drop a comment or a question in. We'll be able to see it. And if it's a good enough question, I guess we'll probably answer it while we're chit-chatting.
Yeah, if you make the cut, we'll answer it. If not, forget it. No, I don't. First of all, I don't know if I'm the greatest export in the history of Canada.
What's
coming
better?
To US. Well, I think a lot of people around here would probably agree that Kelly McCrimmon might be a little better for the area or any of the players.
Nah.
But I appreciate.
I'm sticking with you.
I appreciate that.
I'm sticking with you.
Okay.
This episode, like all the others, is brought to you by Dr. John Pierce, my very good friend at Ageless Forever. 702-838-1994. If you mention the podcast, you get your first appointment consultation absolutely free. So you know what, Sarina? There's that old song where it's the most wonderful time of the year that's usually reserved for Christmas stuff. Nah, this is the most wonderful time of the year. For a lot of reasons, but for me, because all the bullshit content is finally fucking over with. We don't have to read any more spam or clickbait or happy horse shit from people who are just trying to fill pages over the whole summer. The rookie camp starts tomorrow. Big boy training camp next week. It's goddamn hockey season. I couldn't be happier.
It's my favorite time of the year for a lot of reasons because I love baseball. We're getting into the swing of baseball. We've got football going on. I feel like September and October are the greatest times to be a sports fan in general.
So,
okay.
I got a couple things I got to get off my chest.
Okay, I can't wait for this. This will be...
Do you know who Steve Simmons is?
Steve Simmons. It rings a bell.
Steve Simmons is a long-time commentator or writer for the Toronto Sun.
Yes, Steve Simmons. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had a bone.
Oh, God. I was going to say.
Okay.
He's always got something.
Yeah. He's the first guy on the hit list, and you'll find out as we work more together that people piss me off. They get smashed real quick on the podcast. Steve Simmons, after this whole Marner thing developed, wrote a column where he doubted the legitimacy of Mitch Marner's claims about his safety and all the things that happened post-playoffs last year. And he said his foot was already out the door halfway through the year, and he was talking to the Golden Knights at the Four Nations. Well, yeah, of course he fucking was. He was in the last year of his contract, not knowing where he was going to go. It comes out Vegas was his only destination, his only choice. His agent was pissed off. His agent wanted to start a big bidding war and go crazy and stuff like that. But he said Vegas. He told the LA Kings, hard no, nobody else. But that's the point is, how dare that guy? A brand new father. Somebody, some asshole Maple Leaf fan, puts Mitch Marner's address out for the whole world to see with a quote say, stop by and say your goodbyes. How the fuck else is a 28 or 29-year-old kid with a brand new baby or a baby on the way, we're not sure the exact timing of it, how else is he supposed to respond?
Listen, growing up there, that stuff happens. It happens in the CFL, it happens in the NHL, and I'm not defending it, but it doesn't surprise me. And I think that all the stuff, this included, all the stuff that Mitch Marner has gone through over the last, let's say, 5 years in Toronto, maybe more, give or take.
Sure.
He's kept a really tight lip about everything. It hasn't really gotten out until after the fact, which is kind of shocking because people talk a lot up there. But I think that he has been extremely poised in everything that's been going on. He's been extremely professional. He took a lot of shit playing in Toronto. That would be literally the worst place to play as a player. And I feel like he did a really good job just kind of keeping everything under the radar.
I mean, he was a hometown kid. He grew up dreaming of playing for the Leafs. And, people say, he was invisible during the playoffs, but he was a point-a-game guy in the playoffs. And I was going to go do this whole stat thing where I gave you 4 or 5 players' stat lines and see if you could guess Matthews and Marner and Mark Stone and stuff like that. Fuck that shit. the bottom line, he's a point a game. Matthews didn't show up in the playoffs. Neither did Nylander or any of the other ones because they suck in the playoffs. Doesn't matter who their coach is. They just don't win. And when we did our walkthrough episode last time, I challenged you on the last year that the Leafs won the cup, and we turned out I was wrong and you were right, which will happen plenty of times over the course of this year. But listen, I understand what your point is, but it's still it's unacceptable and it's out of control. That's a player should feel. It's still a game.
Of course it is.
Right? And the kids got on skates at 3 and play hockey. In the 20s, they play for millions of dollars. But, I mean, how do you not, react to that? How do you not say, you know what? It was a great run, but fuck it. It wasn't the money.
He probably did. I mean, that was his reaction.
And if that was you, would that be, of all the things that happened, I mean, that's got to be close to the last straw.
No, I think he was out before that. I think that he, like you said, talking at the Four Nations, he knew he was in the last year of his contract. He knew he probably wasn't going to return to Toronto. That was probably the last straw. It was probably already decided in his mind before that. But, going back to the points thing, hockey's a team sport.
Yeah.
A lot of people ripped Barkov apart in the playoffs for not contributing and whatever. And I'm like, Barkov is one of the most effective Panthers on that team. Just because he's not scoring goals, he's not a goal scorer. Why is anybody questioning why Barkov doesn't have enough goals? He's not a goal scorer. That's why everybody, it's always this thing about like this person versus that. It's a team sport. At this point, when you get into the playoffs, there's nothing the general manager can do. There's a little bit the coaches can do, of course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the players are not performing, they're going to lose. And if they are, they're going to win.
Butch says it all the time. It's their job once they got over onto the boards, right? He can mix and match, and coaches do that. The blender is a famous coaching term, but ultimately, it's on all of them. And Florida performed. Toronto hasn't performed historically in 50 gajillion years.
Listen, I don't understand, in my opinion, and I know that I don't want to turn this into a Leafs thing because nobody here cares.
Right, we're getting off it
but
fast.
But what I will say for any team, and the Leafs are just the prime example of this, realistically, your captain has to hold weight. Your captain has to be the one that carries the team. I don't feel like Connor McDavid had a great final this past year, and that was a big part of the problem. Austin Matthews is part of the problem. Mark Stone, when Vegas won, Mark Stone was the captain, and he stepped up. And look at Vancouver. Vancouver had a really strong year last year, and one of the Hughes kids is their captain. I'm like, he's not going to do shit. He's not a captain. He's a small American defenseman. He's not, and sure enough, they didn't even make the playoffs this past year. Your captain controls everything. So everybody ragging on Marner, Marner's going to come here. He's not the captain here. He's going to cruise.
And we're going to get to predictions a little bit later. We're going to talk about stuff like that. The biggest horseshit story I heard over the summer, and I could list the nominees. This episode would go 6 hours. Butch is on the hot seat. Butch is on that. That was the big story. If they don't get off to a blazing start, they've got off to really good starts the last 4 or 5 years. 12-3, 11-3-1, stuff like that. He's going to be on the hot seat. This is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Yes, the Golden Knights do change coaches, but they change coaches with purpose. Butch got them the cup. Gerard Gallant didn't get him the cup. Pete DeBoer didn't get him the cup. For Pete to be on the hot seat, they would have to be in last place on American Thanksgiving. Otherwise, this is the absolute. I'll choke the person when I see. I know I'm not going to out him, but I'm going to just choke him when I see in the press box next week because he won the cup.
I'll tell you exactly what it is, because in Canada, they talk about hockey 365 days a year. Everybody's looking for something to talk about because they don't have anything to talk about. That's why they create these things that aren't even accurate. It's not even real. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Pete DeBoer and Gerard Gallant are incredible coaches, but neither one of them can win. Peter DeBoer is the most losing Game 7 coach in the history of the National Hockey League. He's lost more Game 7s than anybody else. Something like that. Some crazy stat.
Wait a second. Oh, no. I think Pete DeVore is unbeaten in Game 7.
No, he didn't win last year. It was something like ridiculous like that. But everybody.
See, this is the time I wish we had a bunch of people on the chat.
I know.
Because they could fact check us and tell us we're right or I'm full of shit.
Yeah, I think
or
you're right.
whatever.
I think it is. He was the most. But he lost Game 7 last year. But Pete can't. He
can't get over the hump.
Correct. And it's nothing against him as a coach, because let's be honest, look how many coaches out there are good that haven't won the Stanley Cup. That's
right.
Like players. It's not fair to say that. But what a ridiculous, I don't even want to spend much time on this. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm just so happy that we can talk about hockey stuff. There's important hockey stuff going on. The big story for Golden Knights fans is how quick they're going to push the panic button on Jack Eichel's contract. He's eligible to re-sign on July 1st. Well, today is September the 9th, and he hasn't signed. Oh my God, the sky is falling. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. First of all, we're not going to know anything about the contract negotiations until him and Kelly are sitting in there and the contract is in front of them. That's how this team operates. They don't negotiate in public. They don't do any of that stuff. I don't feel like Jack's under any pressure whatsoever to sign. McDavid hasn't signed. He's, without question, the best player in the universe, and not close for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota, an outstanding player in that 2, 3, 4, 5 discussion. Minnesota finally has all that dead money, that extra $14 million that they've been carrying for 2 or 3 years back. He's going to get well in excess of 12 and a half with the cap going up the way it is. So to me, it's another non-story for, like you said, people who are looking for something to write to stay, I don't know, in the front. But do you care at all that Jack Eichel isn't signed and training camp is a week away?
Absolutely not.
It's a nothing burger.
And what was really interesting was last year, Bill Zito signed Carter Verhaeghe in Florida to an 8-year deal in October. He signed him in the season was already going on. Everybody was like, wait, this is really odd. How's this going to play out? And I'm glad more GMs haven't got on board with doing that, because I feel like it's a huge distraction to the player. I don't think it's the right thing to do to sign a guy in the middle of the season. If you're getting close to the trade deadline and you're going, okay, that still gives the general manager the ability to say, I can either trade this guy or I can wait, or I can wait and sign him. If they don't trade him, it's pretty indicative that they're going to sign him. But no, there's absolutely no reason that he should be signed right now.
I mean,
or worried about it, I should say.
I have a general disdain for players' agents, right? I think it's horseshit. But I do like it sometimes when the player and the agent says, once the season starts, we're not going to negotiate. Once the season starts, you're earning your paycheck, go to work. Do your job, right? That's been the mantra. Just do your job. I don't care one bit. Jack, there's a 1% chance, there's a 0.1% chance that he doesn't extend here. He's getting all the money. Mm-hmm. You and I will disagree voraciously over his value to an NHL club, but he's getting the money. He, depending on your perspective of hockey, should have won the Conn Smythe. I believe if I would have had a vote, and I don't, I believe that he should have won the Conn Smythe. He was the best player, all-around player in the playoffs. Marchessault had the most points, most goals, but 75% of Marchessault's goals were set up by Eichel. And Marchessault needed a passport to get into the defensive zone to play defense. And Eichel's a 200-foot player. He wants to be here. Why would you not want to be here?
He'll sign.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to sign. You can play golf in February, right? You go to now there's no dress code, right? The NHL, part of the whole new CBA thing is there's no dress code. These guys can come in flip-flops and sweats. I mean, the league used to be super buttoned down, right? On the road, or come to the rink, you got to be in at least a coat, sport coat, right? That's,
I think you should be. I think it's extremely disrespectful when I see some of these other leagues.
I agree. The NBA is a little bit of a circus.
Too much. Because you know why? Because it filters down.
Yeah.
You see kids playing hockey in Canada, 15 years old, showing up to the rink in a suit, as they should. Have some respect.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk about hockey anymore. We're here because it's the first of 2 preview episodes that we've got for this season. So when we get back after a word from my good friend Dr. John Pierce, I'm going to make you do something you hate doing. I'm going to make you make predictions.
I hate it. It's my least favorite part of the job.
Well, at least I let you off the hook that we're not talking league-wide predictions.
Yes.
We're going to restrict it to VGK predictions for the 25-26 season. We'll be back in just a minute after a word from Dr. John Pierce. I'm here with my good friend Dr. Pierce. We're going to talk about cool sculpting. Back in the old days, it was liposuction. But then if you see the after pictures, they're entirely bruised up. People look like just death, and the recovery is brutal. Nowadays, there's this thing called cool sculpting.
Cool sculpting, really cool. It's non-invasive. Medical term is cryolipolysis. Basically what happens is fat cells freeze at a higher temperature than the skin cells or other cells in the body. We can freeze the fat cells and not damage any other tissue around that. Those cells will die. They go what's called apoptosis, or programmed cell death. They basically disintegrate. The body sends in white blood cells that gobbles up the remnants and it deposits them in the colon, and down the drain it goes. Depending on the amount or the area that you're looking to do, it may require 2 or 3, maybe even 4 treatments. It's really, really inexpensive, very, very effective. So if you've got problem areas that diet and exercise aren't taken care of, you got that little pooch or you got some love handles that you want to address, cool sculpting is the way to go. Not a weight loss thing. So, if you got problem areas that are bothersome to you, we can target those and get rid of the fat in that area.
This is non-invasive. You come in, you lay in a comfortable chair, the gals take care of you. If you need a little touch-up, you don't have to be vain, so I'm considering it. If you want to consider it, send a message to the gals, www.agelessforever.net. Make an appointment. The first consultation is free. They'll walk you through the entire process, www.agelessforever.net. Send a message, take advantage of the free consultation. Wouldn't be bad to look better naked, would it? Oh, that's right. You've never seen any of these before.
I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, wait. Well, we've got some doozies for you.
You got the raw reaction there. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, him and I have been friends for over 30 years. So he's a real doc, and he's a serious doc. But when we're together, it's like 5th graders.
That's okay.
The most ridiculous laughing speeds. All right, prediction time.
Okay, I hate doing predictions. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, everyone's like, okay, who's going to win this series? I'm like, I don't know. God, I hate this. But this is not that.
No,
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're just going to talk about stuff for the Golden Knights. Okay? The season record for goals is 43 or 45. It's either Carlson or Marchessault. I don't remember. Is somebody going to get more than 45 goals for the Vegas Golden Knights this year?
Ooh.
Because if you say yes, the next question is who's it going to be.
Yeah. So. That's a tough. This is why I don't like doing this, because it's such this team is not built around a prolific goal scorer.
Never has been.
Correct. That's the whole point, right? So it's kind of hard to say, like, is someone going to do it? Like, Marner's not going to come in here and get 50 goals. Having said that, Zach Hyman went from Toronto to Edmonton and scored 50 goals.
Right.
Right? Like, it was a shocker. And Reinhart in Florida scored 50 goals. It was like, what? And that's where Austin Matthews, they were looking at, is he going to get 70? Everybody was getting all these goals. But I just don't think anybody's going to do it, depending on who plays together.
Well, we'll find that out starting next week. So you're going with no record
I'm gonna
goals
go with
scored.
No. You might get a 40. You might get some 35 to 40 goal scorers, but I don't think we're going to see a 45, 50 goal scorer here. I hope I'm wrong. I do, okay. But I just that's such a tough prediction to make. Who would it be if they did? It would be, maybe you'd get, I don't know.
There's only one bona fide shooter on the team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say there is. And I'm going to go back to something that you and I talked about off the podcast, where Kelly slid in his press conference and said somebody's going to have to shoot the puck. So you have two incredible playmakers, Marner and Eichel. If they play together, they have to play with somebody who's aggressive, who's going to go get the puck, right? So if I was a guessing man, I would say Ivan Barbashev. He's not going to get that. But if they split them up, and you look at a guy like Pavel Dorofeyev, who went from relative obscurity to 35 goals last year and leading the team, if he gets to play with Marner and Tomas Hertl, or, Eichel and Stone, he's going to get all the looks. And on the power play, he's got the deadly release from the half wall. So I don't think it's at all out of reach, considering the significant jump in playmakers that they have. Now you have Eichel, Stone, Marner, right? And the power play is going to be berserk. I mean, we don't know, and I'm going to try not to say it again until next week what it's going to look like. But in theory, they could play a 5-forward power play, similar to what Toronto did a little bit last year, with Marner captaining the power play from the point. So now you have Marner at the point, you have Eichel on one half wall, you have Dorofeyev on the other half wall, you've got Mount Hertl, 6'4", 245 pounds of an apartment building, right on the net, and you've got Stone below the goal line as an enabler. They were second in the league in the power play last year, I think a half a point off from Winnipeg. They could be devastating on the power play. So I'm going to say there is going to be a scoring record, and I'm going to take it as going to be Pavel Dorofeyev.
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't. But also, for the record, I would never go on I would never run a 5-forward power play. Ever, ever, ever. If you don't have one defenseman that's good enough to quarterback your power play, you got issues.
Well,
I would never do that. They get caught all the time. Forwards get caught all the time.
Well,
they don't know how to defend.
Well, Marner is a Selke level player, and he played defense in a pinch a couple of times. My contrary argument to that is the likely quarterback of the Vegas Golden Knights' first power play unit, if it was a defenseman, would be Shea Theodore, who the knock on him first, foremost, and always has been his defense. He's an offensive threat. He's a threat to get 60, 70 points from the blue line, but his defense, he's with Braden McNabb for a reason, because Braden McNabb is a rock, stay-at-home defensive guy. So I understand your theory, but if they want to go for it all forward and then have Hanifin potentially as an option, which they do, and they have Theodore as an option, I think the cup runneth over when it comes to Butch and how he sets up the power play. So
I mean, yes, okay, now we're going to get into like theoretics here. So I completely agree with what you're saying. It's loaded, but you got to think about your second line of the power play. If you put everybody on that first line, you got nobody to play the second line of your power play, right? So then that if you're stacking it versus, and this is not what's going to happen, but I'm just saying if you split those guys up, you put a Stone and a Hertl and a Dorofeyev on one, and you put a Marner and an Eichel on the other. Marner and Eichel could kill penalties too.
And probably will.
That's the beauty of it. So you can't wear those guys out is all I'm saying.
So I'll give you, and I hate statistics, but I read something somewhere that the time separation for the first power play unit and the second power play unit for the Golden Knights was like a minute 35 and 25. The only time the second power play unit gets on is if there's a whistle, basically. And Eichel plays almost the entire 2 minutes. The second power play Butch favored last year, two defensemen. It was basically like a transition, back into the game. The big boys played 75, 80% of the power play. I agree that they now have enough talent, offensive talent, that they could split it up and have two pretty good units or one devastating unit and one carry through to
Yeah, like I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying that when you get stuck, or not stuck on a power play, but you're in a power play, I don't think anybody goes out and wants their players to be out there for a minute 35. It's just that if they're moving the puck around, you can't make a change.
Nope.
It's just the way it goes. Okay, next prediction.
Will the Golden Knights have a 100-point scorer for the first time in franchise history?
Dang.
Eichel set the record last year.
Man, that's a really, really good question because it's highly possible. But again, it's so where the dynamic of this team changed when Mitch Marner came
significantly.
Here. So, yeah, they could easily. You could have an Eichel or a Marner easily get 100 points.
But like you said, they're not. That's not how this team is built. It's not built on. It's not built on a dynamic.
If you listed other teams, I could be like yes or no for sure because I know who's going to play with who. This is such a new dynamic that I don't know. If you said, "Hey, Marner was still with Toronto, would him or Matthews get 100 points?" Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, easy.
Right. Yes, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say now, Marner, you cannot let me down now because you're the guy. You're my guy.
Is it him?
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be anybody else.
Okay.
I mean, if
I'm going to agree with you and say yes, but it's either Eichel or Marner.
Yeah,
Eichel had 96 last year.
Yeah,
and
like
he
if they're
missed 2 or 3
together, it's 6-1.
There's going to be lots of apples around.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're both on yes for 100 points. I predict they're going to lead the league in the power play this year. I think they are that stacked. And they finally seem to have figured it out that...
I'm going to say this. It's so impossible to determine because that's one thing that on paper looks like it would be effective. But look at Winnipeg last year. You'd never expected it. I watched... There's no two more terrifying players to defend in the league than Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in Edmonton. Edmonton's power play 2 years ago was the strongest power play in the history of the National Hockey League. But then last year it wasn't. And it was the same freaking power play. So,
but that's teams evolving and learning how to defend them.
Sure,
partially.
But for sure. But it just depends. It depends. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be, I'll say they'll be top 5, top 3 probably. I don't know if they'll be, it's just, there's too many teams to.
Okay. I'm going to say they're going to be first on the power play. On the penalty kill last year, they were subpar. We'll say 22nd, 23rd. Surprisingly bad for so many good penalty killers. That's going to get corrected this year.
I agree.
They're going to be a top 5 penalty kill team. You add Marner to that mix. You've got Stone. You've got Eichel. You've got the hardworking guys like Brandon Saad and Brett Howden. They're incredibly deep, and that's even considering the fact that I forgot Riley Smith and William Karlsson, who are devastating. I mean, they call it the power kill when those two are on the ice. So that malady, that irregularity of them being that low in the league on the penalty kill, that's going away. My prediction is they're going to be first on the power play and top 5 in the penalty kill.
I don't know. I have to safely say that I didn't get a chance to watch enough Golden Knights games last year to be able to say whether or not I think that's I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, our pods it's going to be a while for you to get up to just seeing so many Knights game where you get a feel for, what they are. When you I think by 10 games in.
Yeah, I mean,
our conversations will be a lot less theoretical and a lot more, functional and operational.
Yeah, the games start at a normal time now as opposed to 10 o'clock, which is what they started in my old life. So I couldn't really watch them.
Okay. Eichel and Marner, over or under 190 points total.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. If one of them gets 100, the other one's going to get 100 or be close, I would suspect. 190 points... Oh, I mean, I kind of have to say yes because I did feel like Marner will get 100 points. So, I mean, if he gets 100, Eichel's going to get at least 90.
You would,
God forbid, God willing.
Right, you would think.
Shit. Yeah.
Taking the over?
I have to, because
Yeah, you just bought into it in the previous one.
Set me up.
The Golden Knights are going to lead the league in shorthanded goals.
That's another one that I can't. It's too hard.
You haven't seen enough of them work.
It's kind of like, it depends who plays. Like a Riley Smith, guys like that, they're not necessarily going to go sniping on shorthanded, but maybe an Eichel and a Marner might if they played on the penalty kill. So, but I mean, anybody can.
Listen, we can revisit that after you've watched 10 or 12 games.
It's just too hard. It's too hard to determine because honestly, any player can lead the league in shorthanded goals at any time. Anybody can pull it out of their ass.
Okay. The Golden Knights every year seem to have players who have breakout seasons. When Marchessault left, everyone said, oh my God, where's the secondary scoring going to come from? And Dorofeyev outscored Marchessault by 7 or 8 goals and about $4.5 million in salary. So Bretton Howden, career year last year. Keegan Colasar, points-wise, career year last year. The friend of the podcast, Nick Waugh, who was on the unfortunate casualty in the Marner trade, career year last year in points. If you look up and down the roster, who do you sort of see as the breakout player, or who do you see maybe as the players that can benefit the most from potentially playing with Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel?
That's a loaded question.
Of course,
that's a good question because we're talking through defensemen out there, forwards,
right.
I do like Howden. I think that, and I also feel like I've seen Colasar come into his own more each year a little bit more.
Yep.
Everybody knew he was just nasty in a good way. I mean, like just
a physical guy.
Yeah, and I love Colasar's game. But I think that the more he plays, the more experience. Like I feel like he's maturing each year to the point where I'd say I would call him almost a fully matured player. Obviously, everybody always gets better and better as they get older. Like even a Mark Stone is going to be a different player this year than he was last year, the year before, barring injury and stuff. I am not talking about that, but I like Howden. Honestly, we didn't bring it up, but I would like to see Aiden Hill go back to the Stanley Cup Aiden Hill that he was. Well, I think he's got it.
We've got an Aiden Hill coming. We've got an Aiden Hill coming up.
I'm gonna say Colasar and Howden. I like them because they're just maturing.
I think it's Noah Hannafin.
Okay.
I think he's a fantastic all-around defenseman, and I think with Alex Pietrangelo not being in the lineup for that awful reason that we found out about. I mean, Alex Pietrangelo was a minutes-eating monster. 25 minutes a night, every rough, tough. I mean, he was the defender who played against the other line's top line. And even at what we come to find out, a severely diminished capacity with 2 hips that need to be resurfaced, he was the truest definition of what a warrior was. And we had Alec Martinez, another guy. And I think this is the year where the Noah Hannafin that they surprised the league by trading for a couple seasons ago absolutely steps into the spotlight. He's got a great offensive game. He's a fantastic skater, right? His edge work is as good as anybody in the leagues. And he's sort of been relegated, such a horrible word. He played more second pair minutes. This year, the first pair minutes have to be divided up a little bit between Theodore and McNabb, and we're expecting it to be Zach Whitecloud to step up off the third pair and play second pair minutes with Hannafin. Zach Whitecloud is a solid stay-at-home defenseman. He has a little bit of offense, but he's more a shutdown guy, and that's going to give, in my opinion, the opportunity for Noah Hannafin to really, really shine.
I will say this about Hannafin. I watched him play a lot before he came here, and I was impressed with him. You know, it doesn't surprise me. Like, I don't really feel like he's going to have some miraculous breakout like he was.
No, it wouldn't be a breakout, but I think that he's going to have a better year. He's certainly going to have his best year that he's had as a Golden Knight. I don't know what his best numbers were in Calgary. Frankly, I don't care. But as much as I think it's going to be an offensive performance, I think he's going to flourish as the true, 200-foot with an offense, but also she's going to shine as maybe the most complete all-around defenseman of the 6, 7, 8 guys that they're going to run through the lineup.
Maybe.
So
time will tell.
As far as scoring goes, I think that there's going to be like a secondary guy who's going to get lots of good minutes.
You're talking about defensemen?
No, forwards.
Okay.
Forwards. I think a guy like I love Howden's game, and when you get to talk to him, he's just the nicest kid. I think a guy that who's going to sneak up on us is going to be somebody like Brandon Saad, who's going to get some up-level minutes. And he scored in St. Louis, right? He's a bona fide NHL player, right? He took a huge gamble walking away from all that dough in St. Louis and signing for $1 million here last year, and he picked up a little bit of raise. He acclimated himself to the Golden Knights, the organization, the city, everything else. He's a guy who could sneak up on you and get 40 or 50 points, and he could benefit if they split Marner and Eichel and he gets to play with one of them. I mean, the sky's the limit for anybody who gets, Butch coaches in pairs. That's his jam. And then he'll worry about who the third person is when he worries about it. Saad's going to get some run with Eichel and or Marner.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of coaches coach in pairs now because we really don't have 4 solid lines in the NHL like we used to 30, 40 years ago. We just don't. There's not as much talent. But if you get a third, if a guy like Assad ends up on a third or a fourth line, it's not necessarily indicative of their talent. You need third and fourth line guys to move their ass.
Well, the third line in Vegas is going to, in theory, be Riley Smith and William Karlsson, 2 of the original misfits.
Right, but what I'm saying is
it's not a great, step down.
That's what I mean. Like, you need a guy like a Brandon Saad that's going to move his ass. And I think that 40 or 50 points is not an unreasonable thing because if you get your third and fourth line going, there's nobody to defend. Right? Like if you have solid 4 lines that are going, not your fourth line is never going to be as good as your second or first line, but if the lines are going, they're going and the other teams can't defend them. So that's when the puck goes in the net. That's where Edmonton had a lot of success. Everybody cut down their third and fourth lines. I'm like, just wait. They started moving their feet and people couldn't defend because the other teams were tired and boom, they put the puck in the net. So it's those guys that are going to make a difference in the behind the scenes, if you will. I don't know if that's the right verbiage for it.
Okay. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this one. Adin Hill is going to return to form, and he's not going to be a Vezina candidate. He's going to be top 10 in goals against this year.
I hope so.
I mean,
it can go one of 2 ways.
I mean, everybody, and by everybody I say the people who claim themselves to be pundits and who write about the Golden Knights either locally or nationally, don't think that he's a top 10 goaltender. He wasn't the starter in the playoffs, but he did come in and win the cup after Laurent Brossoit got hurt. He does have that form. This is the first year of his big contract. So he's out of the show me phase, the short term, the bridge deals, whatever you call them. This is his first year at 6+ or whatever the number came in. I'd like to see him return to form, right?
I would too.
I'm concerned that with their backup situation, I don't know that I would want Adin Hill going 55 games. I think they need a better backup than who they have because we don't know who the hell they have yet. We don't know where Samsonov is. He hasn't landed. Akira Schmid was good in New Jersey for a very short spell 2 or 3 years ago, but was nothing to speak about here and frankly not good in Henderson. They need a reliable 1B. And listen, Kelly's out there looking. His vacation's been over for a long time. He may not be in town yet, but I don't think he's a guy who stops thinking about hockey at all.
No.
So I'm thinking like a James Reimer, somebody who can get 30, 35 games in as a reliable 1B. And if they get that, I like Adin Hill's chances. He has improved significantly. When they picked him up, he was like, why are we going to the scrap heap for that hunk of shit? But then there's this guy, Sean Burke, who's the goalie wizard when it comes to big, rangy goalies. He got him over the hump.
Well, first of all, I miss the days when the goaltenders played 90% of the games. That was when it was good. That was when you had the Patrick Waz and the Marty Brodeurs and all those guys, and they just...
But the game's different now.
Cruise. No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
I'm just saying. I don't love the goalies that can't play back-to-back nights. I mean, I get it to a certain extent. It's a fucking goaltender, for God's sake. But that's not the way the league is now.
Right.
Secondly, I don't think Adin Hill's a top 10 goaltender in the league. I'm not saying the team can't win with him. There's a big difference. I think he's capable enough to help the team win. But I mean, you got to think about, look at all the Russian goaltenders in the league that are just like unparalleled.
I think he's going to finish top 10 in goals against. I didn't say he was a top 10 goalie because I don't think, I mean, like you said, you can just pick the 7 KGB goalies and, you know, that fills it out. And that's not even mentioning Hellebuck or Ottinger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Big guys.
Yeah. So big time guys with big time prove. So I don't think he's a top 10 goalie in the NHL, but I think that there's so much talk about how depleted the Golden Knights defense is now that Pietrangelo is basically retired and they traded Nick Hague. I don't think so. There's a guy that's been lurking around in the Golden Knights organization for a number of years. I think he makes $900,000 a year. His name's Ben Hutton. And me, as a hockey guy, I love him. First of all, he can be out of the game. He can be out 20 games in a row and come back in and play seamlessly with the organization. He has that incredibly fun personality. Like, he's super easygoing, but he would be a legitimate third pair in 85% of the league. They gave Caden Korzak the baby bag, 3.4 by 3. He was endorsed by Pietrangelo. He's ready to be a full-time player. Yes, there will be a bit of a step back because Pietrangelo is not in the lineup. You can't avoid that. I think that Bruce is going to address that, and they're going to be a better defensive team even than they were last year. And who does that benefit? Adin Hill.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to worry about with their defense.
I don't.
They got strong defense. Most teams do not have this many strong defensemen around the league.
Right.
Like, nobody has that many strong defensemen. I can't think of who would have stronger.
Colorado's pretty stout on the back line.
I don't know if they have as many,
I
though.
don't think they have.
They have the best defenseman in the world by far, in Cale Makar.
Yes, agreed.
But that's different. That's apples and oranges. No, don't think that anybody has to worry about anything.
Okay. Do you want to make a cup prediction?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I am prepared to make we'll end
That's
this.
ridiculous.
I'm going to make a cup prediction right now. Ready? And this is going to be it. We'll wrap up the episode because we're actually doing really good on time.
Okay.
Edmonton will not win the cup.
Oh, no, Edmonton's done.
They're fucking toast. It's over. The run's over. The run's going to be over in a couple of years after McDavid signs his short thing. They're done.
Everybody, just for the record, everybody said that after they lost the first year.
Well,
and they were even stronger last year. It's pretty tough to outplay a possessed Connor McDavid.
Agreed.
You're not going to but
the amount of hockey that they've played in the last 2 years, and I don't think Florida's got 3 in them either. I think that
honestly,
and I don't think it's because of lack of talent, because how Bill Zito pulled that rabbit out of his ass not once but 3 times and signed all 3.
First of all, Florida getting to the final against Las Vegas was an absolute shit show. They had no business being in the final.
Yet they were.
we could go on about this all day, but honestly, I don't think anybody watching really cares.
Right.
We can sidebar about this, but even Panthers fans admit, some of them, that the refs were on their side in the first series against Boston. Boston should have beat them. Florida had the reffing right up their asses just where they wanted them for 2 straight years. Last year wasn't as bad. But the reffing is criminal in this league.
I just think that the volume of hockey, the fact that they play till basically July, both teams.
Oh, it's too much. It's too much.
It's too much. And they want to expand the schedule, and I think it's criminal.
Even Connor McDavid said that before the first time they went to the Stanley Cup, like he's like, I just worked out too hard in the off season. It was too much.
And if you think about it, that's nuts. If you think about that, a player who's trying to be elite, and he doesn't try to be elite, he is unbelievable. Elite. But when he makes a comment like that he didn't have enough in the tank for the finals.
And he still played the way he did.
He did.
Oh,
I mean, and listen, I fucking hate him. You know that. But I respect him for saying something that Edmonton ain't winning the cup, and I don't think Florida's going to win the cup.
I don't think they will again.
I think they're going to really miss Chucky till January or maybe till after the Olympics, depending.
Honestly, in the playoffs last year, I don't really feel like Tkachuk was a game changer.
Yeah, but he was playing with torn core muscles.
He was still playing.
Well, yeah, but he was
even the year before. I'm not a Matthew Tkachuk fan.
No,
You're never gonna get never. I don't think he's as good as they want him to be.
So that was my big prediction. We won't talk about Golden Knights predictions until next episode. So I'm going to give you a week to think about.
We just did a whole bunch of Golden Knights predictions.
I mean, league stuff.
All right.
Results and stuff like that. I'm going to give you a week to ruminate around how far you think the Golden Knights need to go. Yeah, you don't have to say they're going to win. I'll phrase it so that you have a little escape route.
This is why I don't like doing this, because it's like, who's going to win this? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. You have a forum to share your opinion with the world. Listen, if they break it,
ask me that.
They're always going to come back and say, you fucking asshole, you said this and that and the other thing. Well, you know what? I got an opinion in a microphone, so fuck you. I'm allowed to say whatever I want.
But I also, just over the years, people always want to know my opinion. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win that? And I sincerely don't know. It's not that I'm scared to make a prediction. I'm just so analytical in my thinking.
I know.
That I'm like, I don't know. Like, everybody last year was like, oh my God, Winnipeg. I go, mark my words. If I could go back on my podcast for the last 2 years and pick apart everything I was right about, I go, Winnipeg isn't going to do shit. Mark my words. They never do. They'll never make it anywhere in the playoffs. Trust me. They won't. And everybody's like, oh my God, but they've got, don't care. And they didn't. That's the one thing I knew Winnipeg wasn't going to do. Just like Vancouver.
So you are capable of making predictions.
I can make predictions. Okay. Vancouver is never going to win the Stanley Cup. Neither is Winnipeg.
Well, those are easy. So that's it. I think we're done. We're going to wrap up the Golden Knights prediction episode. Yep.
Okay.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
I'm over the moon for the chance that we're going to just chop it up every single week. We're going to be on live on YouTube. We'll put the schedule out. Follow us on Instagram. We're going to put little snippets and cuts and clips from the games and stuff like that. Thanks to Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever, 702-838-1994. Your first consultation is free. A quick shout out to Tiffany, our good friend Tiffany at the Ladies of the Night Facebook group.
For the record, is the hockey page. Tiffany's not a Lady of the Night.
Oh,
Tiffany's in our Ladies of the Night Golden Knights page.
Yeah, I'll work on making that plug clear, because when I first heard the name of it, I admit that I went right to the gutter. 14,000 Ladies of the Night. And I'm like, whoa. God.
She told me the other day they'd put her on the day shift.
So, Tiff, we love you. Thank you for everything, all the fun things we're going to do together with your Facebook group. And I'll try to get the plug better. We will be back next Wednesday live on Facebook. We'll send the link out to everybody. Please, if you have a few minutes, drop in, ask a question. We'd love to find out what's on your mind so we can talk about stuff that's not on our mind necessarily. That's the end of the episode. We're out of here. We'll see you next week.